It's Thursday, June 25th. In the headlines, Minister Matthew Samuda defends multi-million-dollar Western water resilience project amid opposition criticism. In business news, national export earnings fall by 22%. Regionally, rescuers scramble to save lives after two massive earthquakes leave dozens dead and hundreds injured in Venezuela. In sports, West Indies ready for a crucial test series against Sri Lanka. This is the news on PBC Jamaica. I'm Simone Absalom Gale. Minister with responsibility for water, Matthew Samuda, has responded to claims that the government should review the multi-million-dollar Western Water Resilience Project. Opposition spokesperson on water and special projects, Ian Hales, made the call during his contribution to the 2026-2027 sectoral debate in the House of Representatives this week. It was also inferred that most of the projects are benefiting government constituencies. Speaking at this week's post-cabinet press brief, Minister Samuda noted that Mr. Hales had argued that Jamaica needs an integrated set of water system and declared that the plan for Western Jamaica achieves that.
That project, you'll recall, will see a pipeline run from Martha Brae all the way to the opposition spokesperson's constituency in Western Westmoreland. That will connect with a major distribution main, two water treatment plants. One at Great River, which is on the boundary of Hanover Eastern and, of course, the western side of St. James, and the other, which is the Martha Brae treatment plant. Now, the last time I checked the budget, we are spending $11 billion this year on this project. The last time I looked at the map, that pipeline will run through Eastern Hanover, Western Hanover, and Western Westmoreland.
The Western Water Resilience Project forms part of the government's broader strategy to strengthen water security and improve distribution infrastructure. Minister Samuda also explained that Jamaica will go to market this year with a $5 billion contract for Agwater Vale and Jordan Run.
Now that water system will serve all of Central St. Mary and Southeast St. Mary, which currently sit on the opposition benches by way of members of parliament.
He says work will be done in Mason Hall, Albert Town, and also Spring in southern Trelawney.
But we will also be developing a major system in Union, in Balaclava, in northeast St. Elizabeth, which also sits with the opposition. We'll be developing the Port Morant Erie Castle water system in eastern St. Thomas, which doesn't sit with the government of the day. And we'll be developing the Green Park water system, which is a system that connects both northwest, northeast, and yes, southeast St. Anne.
Opposition spokesperson on youth and human rights, Isat Buchanan, is calling for greater parliamentary involvement in the discussion of Jamaica's third country nationals agreement with the United States, arguing that the arrangement carries significant human rights, immigration, and constitutional implications. He made the call during his contribution to the 2026-2027 sectoral debate in the lower house this week. Mr. Buchanan is questioning whether Jamaica is adequately preparing to manage the responsibilities that can arise under the TCN program, which allows for the temporary transfer of non-Jamaican nationals being removed from the United States while in transit to other destinations.
This is a profound step in the life of a small nation, and yet has not been brought to this house to be debated.
Mr. Buchanan also pointed to what he described as a weakness in Jamaica's asylum and refugee framework.
The minister himself concedes that those who elect to remain must apply to our courts for asylum. And there lies the problem, Mr. Speaker. The difficulty begins right there. For the very international reporting the Justice Minister waved away describes a country with no clear procedure for the granting of asylum or refugee status and no consistent system to protect refugees.
He urged the government to table both the agreement and its operational guidelines in Parliament to facilitate detailed scrutiny and enhance public accountability.
An assurance is a promise, and this House exists to test promises against practice. Who reviews a refusal, and on what criteria? What becomes of a person whom we receive but cannot move on?
The TCN program will see up to 25 undocumented migrants arrive in Jamaica every 2 weeks, while arrangements are made for their return to their countries of origin. Health and Wellness Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton has directed regional health authorities and the University Hospital of the West Indies to improve the working and living conditions of medical interns across the public health system. The directive follows concerns raised by the Jamaica Medical Doctors Association regarding challenges being faced by interns.
But in the future dispensation around these issues, we have to speak to institutions, managers, this is CEOs and SMOs, regional authorities, parish managers, and where necessary, the minister, of course, and the support team at corporate.
Under the new measures, all RHAs and UHWI have been instructed to conduct comprehensive inspections of intern accommodation facilities within 72 hours. The findings are to be submitted to the ministry's permanent secretary by June 26. Facilities found to have structural, sanitary, or safety issues, including sewage problems or inadequate sleeping arrangements, must undergo immediate corrective action. The minister has also ordered a review of duty rosters to ensure appropriate scheduling of interns, residents, and senior house officers. Education officials say Jamaica's national standards curriculum has helped improve learning outcomes at the primary level, but more work is needed to ensure students reach their full potential. Speaking at the recent Conversation on Education conference at UWI Mona, Acting Chief Education Officer Terrian Thomas Gale outlined plans to strengthen curriculum delivery, teacher training, and student achievement. Daniela Rodney has that story.
The Ministry of Education is reviewing the national standards curriculum to improve student performance in primary schools. Acting Chief Education Officer Terrian Thomas Gale says while the curriculum remains a strong reform, disruptions including the COVID-19 pandemic and hurricanes have limited its full impact on students.
The national standards curriculum let me say it this way, is grounded in a constructivist, learner-centered approach. Remember, first 3 years remotely. Constructivism, learner-centered, requires you to be hands-on, touching, an environment that is created for you to learn, to explore. If it is that that's not created, we're not really delivering the national standards curriculum and being true to the design of the curriculum.
Mr. Thomas Gale says challenges also remain in classroom implementation, with ministry assessments showing gaps in lesson planning and technology integration.
Only 66% of the lesson plan met acceptable standards. So they are planning, but they are still not yet being planned the way it is intended. Integrated lesson planning evident only in 31% of the plans. So the whole idea of integration, and you know integration has always been a problem from RPC days. And so we're seeing where that is still an issue. Differentiated instruction, that remains weak. That has always been a problem. About 50% of our teachers are effectively using ICT and instructional materials in delivering their lessons.
She shared that the review will focus on strengthening literacy and numeracy, expanding inclusive education, boosting STEM learning, and improving teacher training. The ministry is also encouraging more schools to adopt specialist teaching at the upper primary level.
234 primary level institutions currently using the specialist model, and the intent this academic year is to really have more of our primary schools utilizing the specialist model, particularly at grades 4, 5, and 6.
The education official says stakeholder feedback will play a key role as it continues efforts to strengthen the national standards curriculum and improve student outcomes across the primary education system. For the news on PBCJ, I am Denida Rodney.
Time now for the business report with Denise Williams.
Welcome to today's business report. I'm Denise Williams, bringing you the developments shaping markets, capital access, and business decision-making across Jamaica and the region. Let's get into the stories that matter. Jamaica's export earnings fell sharply during the review period, with the country earning US $376.6 million from exports for January to March 2026, down 22.3% compared with the corresponding period last year. Jamaica spent nearly US $1.9 billion on imports during the first quarter of 2026, while earning less than $400 million from exports. New data from the Statistical Institute of Jamaica, STATIN, show the total imports from January to March are valued at US $1.8 billion. That represents a 1.3% decline from the same period in 2025. Statin noted that the reduction was primarily due to lower spending on consumer goods and fuels and lubricants, which declined by 2.4% and 10% respectively. Statin says the decline was largely driven by a 48.7% fall in the value of crude materials, excluding fuels. The Bank of Jamaica is set to remove another 35 billion Jamaican dollars from circulation on Wednesday through its 5.75% per annum certificate of deposit. This forms part of the central bank's efforts to manage liquidity in the financial system. The certificate of deposit is the central bank's main tool for liquidity management. The instrument will mature on July 24. For the trading period of June 24, 2026, the most actively traded securities were Kentire Holdings Jamaica Limited with 17,570,074 units, representing 37.43% of market sales activities. JMMB Group Limited 9.5% with 13,736,913 units, representing 29.27% of market sales activities. Trans Jamaican Highway Limited with 3,684,419 units, representing 7.85% of market sales activities. Investor activity remained concentrated in transportation and distribution plays, signaling continued interest in dividend-producing and strategic assets. Turning to the foreign exchange market based on Bank of Jamaica data for June 24, 2026, Forex traders recorded significant activity with strong demand across major currencies. For the US dollar, trading margins reflected steady liquidity, with the US selling at $158.19 and buying at $156.66. For the Canadian dollar, moderate gains supported by $1.17 transaction spreads. The Canadian dollar sold for $112.15 and was bought for $110.98. The British pound had continued volatility, offering short-term trading opportunities of $6.88 in profits for the banks. The British pound sold for $210.87 and was bought for $203.07. These movements underscore the importance of cash flow timing and currency awareness for businesses managing import costs, debt servicing, or overseas exposure. For our credit report tip of the day, when you look at your credit report, consider that it offers a planning opportunity. Financial recovery starts when we stop asking, what have I lost? And start asking, what resources do I have available today? Before making a major decision, I would recommend the following. First, obtain and review any and all divorce and property documents. Then determine the value of every asset in which you own. Clarify any legal rights to jointly own property or future proceeds. Create a realistic housing budget based on current income. Evaluate all housing options, including downsizing, relocation, or temporary renting. Preserve cash reserves for emergencies and retirement needs. Because financial recovery requires a different approach even with your credit report. The objective is not to win an argument with reality. The objective is to create stability. Recovery is about moving forward with purpose. In our funded and focused feature, one of the biggest mistakes single-parent entrepreneurs make is believing they need higher income before they can build cash reserves. In reality, cash reserves are built through discipline, not income alone. So start with these 3 steps. 1, save a percentage of every payment received, even if it's only 5%. 2, separate your reserve funds from your operating account so they are not spent on day-to-day expenses. 3, increase your reserve contribution every time revenue grows. Think of your cash reserve as a growth fund, not just an emergency fund, so that when a new contract appears, equipment needs replacing, or a marketing opportunity arises, cash gives you the ability to act immediately rather than borrow money or miss the opportunity altogether. As a single parent, financial resilience matters. Your business is not only supporting your entrepreneurial vision, it is supporting your family. Start small, be consistent, and let your cash reserves become the foundation of your next growth stage. And that's today's business report. I'm Denise Williams, bringing clarity to capital, markets, and strategy. Until next time, stay informed, stay intentional, and keep building forward. See you soon.
In regional news, Venezuela has declared a state of emergency after 2 powerful earthquakes struck west of the capital, Caracas, causing widespread destruction and loss of life. The back-to-back quakes, measuring 7.2 and 7.5 in magnitude, damaged buildings, forced residents to flee for safety, and triggered a major search and rescue operation as emergency crews continue to look for survivors. We have details from Al Jazeera.
Total panic at Venezuela's main international airport. Scrambling for cover. Wilmer Azuaje filmed Venezuela's earthquakes as they happened. Look at the ceiling, he says. Everything was destroyed. Everything was ruined. 2 powerful earthquakes struck Venezuela, west of the capital, Caracas. The first, magnitude 7.2, 22 kilometers deep. The second, just 39 seconds later, was stronger and shallower, registering magnitude 7.5 at a depth of 10 kilometers. It happened on a public holiday, and many Venezuelans were at home when they hit, rushing to escape before many buildings came crashing down.
I was here when I managed to get dressed and all the walls were cracked. We managed to open the door however we could. There was a cloud of smoke that wouldn't let us see. And when we went downstairs, the scene was like a horror movie. We had to climb over the rubble from the building. I only saw one family get out.
The building moved from side to side. It was incredible. Luckily, there weren't many people in the building. Can you imagine the panic of people trying to get out of there? It was incredible.
The country's interim president quickly confirmed fatalities and declared a state of emergency.
At this moment of great sensitivity for our population and for those who unfortunately have suffered the loss of a family member, we extend our immediate condolences.
Hundreds of emergency responders are working to find and rescue victims. Daylight is now starting to reveal the true extent of the destruction. Pledges of support are coming in from around the world, and the operation to find the missing and provide humanitarian assistance will be massive. Alexander Byers, Al Jazeera.
Leaders of the Organization of Eastern Caribbean States, OECS, are moving to strengthen the region's economic resilience amid growing global uncertainty. At the conclusion of the 78th OECS Authority meeting, newly installed Chairman Gaston Brown outlined plans to boost food and energy security, expand trade opportunities, improve regional transportation links, and unlock new sources of economic growth.
It was a summit focused heavily on global turbulence, with OECS leaders acknowledging that unprecedented geopolitical shifts are squeezing Caribbean economies. The priority, according to the Organization of Eastern Caribbean States Authority Chairman Gaston Brown, will be building a collective fortress around regional food and energy security. During a press conference on Monday, the new chairman highlighted that the OECS Authority believes there are opportunities to import reasonable price quality goods from the Dominican Republic.
But in order to achieve that, we'll have to approach CARICOM for suspension of the common external tariff. So we have asked the Commission, OECS Commission, to do a study to determine the products that we can import at cheaper prices from the Dominican Republic, and for us to approach CARICOM for a temporary suspension of the CET.
Brown added that they also decided to expand trade with neighboring markets.
In fact, many of those products leave Panama and they go to the United States subjected to a markup, and then we are purchasing more expensive goods. Now, the US's policy of tarification, that in itself would have resulted in an increase in the cost of goods. And that is why we have to explore new markets to try and address the issue of the rising cost of living within the OECS.
He impressed that the authority is looking to the water, focusing on innovative ways to sustainably unlock the region's blue economy.
We have asked the OECS Commission to develop a paper as to how we can collaborate and whether or not we can employ companies with satellite technologies and other technologies to help us to do a survey of our marine space and to see precisely what mineral and other resources we may have.
The Antiguan Prime Minister noted that the OECS Authority has acknowledged the threat by the European Union to discontinue the visa-free access, which they are now seeking to address through official channels. Brown said the leaders are also actively positioning the sub-region to cash in on nature-based financing, linked carbon markets, and much-needed climate resilience investments. But the chairman highlighted that none of this economic diversification works without movement. A major point of the discussion was the ongoing push to drastically improve regional air and maritime connectivity, a historically stubborn hurdle for Caribbean integration.
We are proposing to utilize some unclaimed deposits that have been unclaimed for 20, 30 years by our citizens and residents, and also to supplement those with European Interreg funding. So we've been advised by the French representatives that it's a probability that we'll be able to get support funding under the Interreg or Gateway Facility of the European Union.
The heads of governments also tackled one of the region's most sensitive economic drivers, the citizenship by investment programs, while reviewing the machinery that keeps the region running. The overarching takeaway from this summit is a pivot from theory to defense. OECS leaders are making it clear that regional integration is no longer just a political ideal, it is a necessary shield to protect the interests, economies, and livelihoods of Eastern Caribbean citizens in a rapidly changing world. I am Gerard Joseph reporting.
In sports, we look to cricket. There's a sense of anticipation surrounding the West Indies senior men's team as they prepare for 2 home test series this summer against Sri Lanka and Pakistan, with each series being played in Antigua and Trinidad respectively. The first match is happening today, June 25. Newsroom Guyana caught up with coach Darren Sammy before the match.
All hands on deck, the coaches, the players, in conditions that are challenging, but for me it's the attitude towards what they're looking to do, bearing in mind what we could face in the first test. The reports from us watching as coaches, from the players, and the feedback of how the training session's been, really impressive with the preparation that we've been putting in.
Both form part of the ICC World Test Championship, and the men in maroon are eager to secure crucial victories on home soil before concluding the current cycle with an away series against Bangladesh in November 2026.
Test cricket for us over the first 6 test matches in this Test Championship, is batting for long periods and not losing so many wickets in the session. Sometimes we're going good, and the ability to not let the bowling get into our batting lineup when someone is bowling a good spell. These are areas that we focus on.
The West Indies will welcome Sri Lanka to familiar territory, with both the venue and history favouring the home side, as the West Indies have only recorded 2 defeats in 13 test matches at the Sir Vivian Richards Stadium. Now to our World Cup update. Brazil, Morocco, Mexico and Switzerland all secured important victories as the group stage of the 2026 FIFA World Cup moves closer to its conclusion on June 24. In Group A, Mexico mined a 3-0 triumph over Czechia. The victory confirmed Mexico as group winners, while South Africa edged South Korea 1-0. Group B saw Switzerland edge Canada 2-1 in a battle for top spot. The result secured first place for the Swiss, while Canada still advanced to the knockout stage. Bosnia and Herzegovina's match ended with a 3-1 victory over Qatar. Brazil maintained their unbeaten record in Group C with a comfortable 3-0 win over Scotland. Morocco also advanced after an entertaining 4-2 victory over Haiti. The win ensured the North Africans finished second in Group C, joining Brazil, progressing to the round of 32. Those results leave the teams celebrating important wins as the race for the knockout stage gathers momentum. And that's the news on PBCJ. Thanks for watching.